Welcome to Disaster Party Podcast. As always, this is Rob Cedeno, joined by a different co-host. B Rent is back co-hosting with me tonight. What's up, B Rent?
What's up? It's me. It's BRENT. And OMG, we're on episode 73. Whoa, daddy. Trademark. That's copyright infringement. I'm stealing your gimmick, bro, because you ain't here right now. So
That was pretty good. Not gonna lie. So as you could see that if you listened to last week's episode, Andy is in a studio now. He's kind of getting everything set up there. So he did that while
Moving
me
on
and
up.
Brent were gonna do this episode. So you got a little bit time difference, but don't worry. Me and Andy will come back together in another, not next week, but the week after.
2 weeks.
Maybe
Andy's
2 weeks.
moving on up to a deluxe podcast studio in the sky.
Yeah, I still have yet to be there. Even though I think we're gonna finally have El Jefe Marv on to do his cannabis episode only a year
I heard he's
later.
been ducking and dodging. Yeah.
Oh, he's been ducking. His excuse was that he couldn't record at home, so now that we have the studio, he is like, I'm ready to record.
Well, you know what? I do feel his pain on that because I find that's why we're recording a little later tonight because I was got to clear the room out. I'm in a small apartment, so I get that.
Well, I think it would be cool, like, once we can all get there, because I think
Yeah.
well, it's close to you. I know that for sure, because you're close to Andy.
Yeah.
And he said
Yeah,
it's
he
2
only lives
minutes.
about 5 minutes away.
And he said it's 2 minutes from him,
Okay.
meaning it's like 7 minutes from Sean, and to me it's like 18 minutes. So I'm the furthest right now. So eventually we'll all get in there and do something. I know the last time me and Andy were talking about those movie reviews, like the bad movies that we were talking about. So we gotta with the four of us, we have to pick a movie to watch because we have the next couple
Yeah.
episodes already booked.
I'm always there to do a bad movie review.
Yeah, hell yeah. So while I'm in the schedule, if I'm correct, so I'm going to try to do this in order. Next week we have another Know Thy Neighbor with Darius. So that's just going to be Andy and Darius. Then the week after that, Andy and I will be coming back together to do Moon Knight because that ends this week. I believe after that we are going to try it's either going to be before Moon Knight or after Moon Knight. It's going to be Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. And then after that, I believe we're going to do Halo. And then after that, I believe we're going to do, I think we're going to have El Jefe Marvin. I think that will be the time. So right there, that's 5 episodes. So get ready after this one. But today, we will be talking about wrestling in general. But Brent and I here, including Shawnee D, we went to the Impact pay-per-view in Poughkeepsie, New York, called Rebellion. It was my first Impact live event. It was fun. There is a reason why Andy cannot participate in this, but I will leave it right there. If you know him, text
Kayfabe,
him.
brother.
Yeah, kayfabe, brother. Just say, awesome job, Andy. So if you hear this and you want to know why he can't be on this, just say, awesome job, Andy. Yeah. So, yeah, this was a lot better of a show than I expected because, again, I think the most Impact I've ever watched was during the pandemic when Kenny Omega was the champion, to be honest. And it wasn't that great, but I think at that point they were still doing no crowds. That could have played a
Yes, they
role with
were.
it. So it
And it
could have
makes a
been
huge
like,
difference.
yeah, WWE's doing crowds, AEW doing crowds, and then you have Impact, which already is a smaller company now with no crowd. So it just felt very meh.
Watching wrestling with no fans is rough. I've been watching a little bit of the New Japan now that they're back on Access because they actually show New Japan after Impact. It comes on after.
Oh, cool.
But it's like stuff that's already happened. Not like super old, but it's like the matches have been recorded from like a week or so before. But even just watching that, like there are fans in the crowd, but you know how the Japanese crowds are. They're a lot different. They're very quiet.
Yeah.
They sit quietly and watch. If you do a cool move, they'll clap a little bit. But this is like watch wrestling. I don't realize the crowd is involved. They're not there. You know.
You're frozen. Oh gosh, we have Robot Brent. let's see how this podcast goes. Robot Brunt, if you haven't seen, he's coming back. He's coming back. You
Yeah,
went
am I
robot.
good?
You went robot for a little
It's
bit.
what's weird. Well, what's weird is you. Usually when that happens, I can't hear you, but I heard you fine. You didn't freeze or up or anything, so I don't
Oh,
know.
that's weird.
My
Yeah,
internet sucks. Sorry.
that's all right. So yeah, the Japanese, they definitely do not like scream or anything. They just sit there very
Yeah,
quietly. And
that's
I
what I'm saying.
heard
Even
that
though
even
they're,
during the pandemic, they weren't even allowed to clap.
yeah, I think that's true. I don't really see how that would affect the virus, but
Well,
I don't
I
know.
guess hands off. Yeah,
Whatever.
who knows? But this was the first live wrestling show that I went to without a mask.
Oh, really?
Because I went to the AEW show last September in Jersey.
Actually, yeah. I had my mask on part of the time while we were
Well, besides when I was eating, yeah, I had my mask
there.
on.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, this was the first wrestling event that I didn't have a mask on at all. It's kind of cool. The little
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. It's nice to not have it on.
Yeah. But it was interesting to see how they only had the like seating around the ring. They didn't have like the bleachers or anything. It
Yeah, I was
seemed
kind
like
of
a small
disappointed.
crowd.
I was kind of disappointed they didn't have the bleachers, but I think it was for TV purposes because that's where they had the hard cam. Here's the funny thing. Last night I watched an old episode of ECW that was filmed at the Civic Center that me and Sean were also at. This was back from like the year 2000
Oh
because I
wow.
wanted to watch it because I wanted to see where they had the hard cam position for those shows when they had the bleachers out. And I think they have the hard cam like in the entrance way or something because it looked like the camera was looking at it from the entrance, where
Ah,
Impact had it the opposite way. The hard cam was pointed towards the entrance. So I think that was why. It might have been also maybe they didn't think they'd be able to sell it out with the bleachers up, but I don't know how much more people that would have been. I mean, how many people did the bleachers seat?
yeah, maybe two, three
100,
hundred.
maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Is it
They
really
probably
worth?
could have sold those,
Yeah,
but who
yeah.
knows?
But it was. What do you think?
The
Two
less tickets
thousand?
you sell, the better chance you have of having a sellout.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That sells. That sounds
I do believe it
better.
was sold out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds better than it was sold out with 2,000 tickets, or it didn't sell out but 2,300 tickets. So
right.
yeah, so it was fun though. I mean, I had a really good time. We went to pregame with John and Frank, so that was cool. Got to meet new friends, makes new friends, wrestling fans. So that was cool. And then we went into the show, and we missed the pre-show match, the one pre-show match.
Yeah, I think it was Kenny King and Crazy Steve. It was just
Yep.
about over when we were walking in. So
Yeah, we didn't see that one at all. And then the
mhm.
second match, which the pre-show was Eddie Edwards versus Chris Bay. I honestly don't know much about many of the Impact stars. So Eddie Edwards, I've heard the name, never saw him wrestle, and Chris Bay, I know he's in the Bullet Club. Like that's pretty much all I've got from that one.
Yeah, so Eddie Edwards, he's a veteran. He's been around a long time. He was in Ring of Honor for a long time before Impact. He was in a tag team with Davey Richards called the American Wolves. And they were like mainstays in Ring of Honor. They had a tryout with WWE. It didn't work out, so they ended up signing with Impact. And he's been there since like 2015. He's one of the few mainstays. Like Impact, their thing's kind of a revolving door. I feel like a lot of people go there, they kind of get some buzz, and then they end up trying to either go back to WWE, go to AEW, get one of the bigger companies. But he's been one guy that's like been like a staple there. So, but he did just recently do a storyline where he kind of turned his back on Impact, and now he's with Honor No More, which is a faction of like ex Ring of Honor wrestlers that have kind of
Mm.
invaded Impact. So, and
It,
yeah, Chris Bay, yeah, he's been there a couple of years now. He was a guy that was getting some indie buzz. He's actually a guy that Cody said he wanted to sign for AEW, but he Impact scooped him up, and he's been doing well. And yeah, being added to the Bullet Club is certainly raised his profile.
yeah. So that match was actually 9:22 or 9:20. Then this
Yeah, it's
pre-show.
actually this Chris Bay was actually a replacement though. The match was supposed to be um, Eddie Edwards versus Jonathan Gresham. Jonathan Gresham's Ring of Honor champion, but I'm not sure. He had to pull out. We're not sure exactly what the reason was. I think they were maybe saying an injury or maybe just AEW didn't want him on the show. But I don't know.
Yeah.
AEW doesn't usually seem to do that kind of stuff, and they already had a partnership with Impact, so I don't know if that's really the reason. But who knows?
There was another ROH champion though in this, another ROH wrestler. Which no, she's technically signed for Impact. She was just the ROH champ.
He's an Impact wrestler, but she has an ROH title and a AAA title.
Got it. So, all right. So the second match, or the third and last pre-show match, was the Influence, which is Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood versus the Inspiration, Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay. The Influence won by pinfall in 6 minutes and 35 seconds, and the Inspiration, for those who don't watch Impact, is the formerly known as Iconics. Um,
Iconics.
Iconics. And I don't think this match was like anything to talk about. Honestly, it looked kind of stiff. But then what happened like the day after this, the Inspiration, I guess their contracts are expired or they got let go or they're no longer a part of Impact.
I I'm not. Yeah, it's not 100% clear what exactly happened. If their contracts were up or if they asked for the release. It seems like they're just stepping away from wrestling for a while. From what they
Mm,
said, they're just looking to do something else for now. So I don't know if that means they're done forever. We'll see them again down the road, but yeah, for now you won't be seeing them soon, which makes sense that they lost.
yeah, exactly. All right, so the first main card match, we have Steve Macklin, Chris Sabin, and Jay White in a three-way match for bragging rights, I guess. I don't follow the storylines to understand what this match was for.
This match honestly didn't have much of a storyline going into it. So Jay White has been kind of having a beef with Alex Shelley, who is the tag team partner of Chris Sabin, for those who know the Motor City Machine Guns. Um, but because Shelley is also he's like a mentor to Jay White. He's somebody that helped train him, I believe, and like helped them get into wrestling. Um, so I kind of get the beef with Sabin because that's his tag partner. I'm not sure why Shelley wasn't on the show. He might have been booked for an independent show or something. Um, that Steve Macklin kind of just got thrown in there for no reason.
Well, for someone who gets thrown in for no reason, he ends up winning this match in 11 minutes and 50 seconds. And the only thing I really remember of this match was that Steve Macklin came out with like a Punisher face paint.
Yeah. So Steve Macklin, well, for those who don't know, for those who maybe only follow WWE or NXT, he was in NXT as part of the Forgotten Sons. So, and that gimmick was kind of based on a real life military experience. So the gimmick he's doing now is kind of similar. I think he's like an ex-military guy. So yeah, I think that the face paint was kind of going along with that.
Yeah.
I thought this was a good match, good opener, exciting, and he got the win, which I think is good for him. He's a guy that I like didn't really care about in WWE because they didn't really do anything with him, and now Impact's giving him a little bit of a push and starting to see that he actually can do some stuff.
It was a
So,
good match. Like I definitely I was like, wow, okay, this is a good opener. I actually to me I like the other three-way better, but we'll get there.
oh,
Uh
for sure.
the next match was Taya Valkyrie versus Deonna Purrazzo, who came into the match as the Triple A women's champion. Uh,
Triple
so
A,
Triple
say it
A.
properly.
Sorry. This match went
Is that heavy
9
or just
minutes. Huh?
never mind.
Uh, I was just
Sean
gonna
will get
say this match went
that.
9 minutes, and Taya Valkyrie, who this was her return match to Impact after being in NXT for 4 months.
Was it that long? Didn't even feel like
She wasn't in NXT
it.
for very long, but yeah. So she came in and won the belt, not the Impact belt, the Triple A
One of the belts, because
belts.
Deanna was the champ coming into this match. she's been doing kind of like an open challenge every week where she lets anyone pick which belt they want to challenge for.
Oh, cool.
So after at the last special, she won her match, and then Taya came out to challenge her for the AAA belt. So Taya has a lot of history in Impact Wrestling and in AAA. Like AAA is kind of where she really got her name up, and then she went to Lucha Underground and got a little more exposure to the U.S. audience, and then she came to Impact. She's actually the longest reigning Knockouts champion of all time.
Hmm.
And I think she's might have the record for like most reigns for the AAA title too. So that's like I said, she has that history. That's why she wanted to challenge for that title, and she got it.
Interesting, interesting. I liked it. This was a good match. This was good back and forth. This was 9 minutes, like I said. I enjoyed this. Because again, you got to
Me too.
remember, WWE matches, like women's matches, don't always go the length unless it's like the big, big stars, right? And even AEW is guilty of not really giving women's matches too much time. They're normally like, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes on that like 9 o'clock hour on Dynamite, and then on Rampage, which barely anyone watches, and even on pay per view, it's like one match. This being nine
Well, I was gonna say
minutes,
a lot of
it's
times you
good.
only get one, like on the
Exactly.
show on a TV show, where at WWE you'll get two or three sometimes.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. But they're
so
like
they do
30
at least.
seconds. But yeah, they
Yeah,
just
well, it depends. I think. I mean, the men that happens to the men sometimes too.
yeah,
Sometimes the
yeah.
matches just TV matches or whatever. They're not. There's nothing to them. But
Well, my whole point is that this was a solid women's match, 9 minutes with two veterans, and I really enjoyed this. And then there was another women's match later in the card, which was longer than this one. I didn't enjoy it as much, but we'll get there.
yeah,
So now,
I figured
oh,
this was one of the matches I was looking forward most of going into because I think Deanna is really good. I think she's underrated. She's one of the best women's wrestlers out there, in my opinion. And Taya's really good too. And like you said, she didn't really get a chance to shine in NXT, so I'm glad she's back with. Well, I don't know if she's back with Impact necessarily. I feel like she's a free agent. She's kind of floating around, but we'll see what happens with her in the future.
yeah, you're gonna have to tell us once we're done with this how the next night went, but we'll get there. The next match was the three-way match for the Impact X Division Championship. Ace Austin versus Trey Miguel and Mike Bailey. So, I didn't know any of these guys, honestly, going in. I've heard of Trey Miguel, didn't really know. I think I've heard Ace Austin. Speedball, Mike Bailey, I've heard. So I've heard of all three, didn't know what any of them look like. To be honest, Speedball Mike Bailey looks like Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat. Uh, that's just me.
Well, Speedball he's pretty new to the company. He actually is a guy that was getting some buzz on the indie scene. He was doing PWG and stuff a couple years ago. He's from Canada though, and he got busted trying to come into the US with no visa. So he got
Mm.
like banned from the US for 5 years. So he
Oh,
was like only doing Canada stuff. So he dropped because of that. But Impact is actually their headquarters is actually based in Canada. Scott Demore, who is like he runs the company, he's lives in Canada, so I feel like he had kind of that in with Bailey, and they ended up signing him to a contract recently.
okay.
So and yeah, he's been impressing. He's he's one of those guys that like you look at him and you're like, who's this dork? But then like
Yep.
you see what he can do in the ring though, and you're like, okay, he's pretty good.
And he doesn't wear shoes.
Yeah, he wears kick pads with no shoes, which is kind of weird to me. But
And then Ace Austin, isn't he gonna be in the Super Juniors?
that's what it's looking like. So him and Trey Miguel, they've been with Impact for a while now. They've been mainstays in the X division, and so Trey was the champ going into this match. Ace won it. I believe this is his third time winning the X division title. And then at the it didn't actually happen at the tapings, but one of the episodes already aired and it was like a backstage segment. Rocky Romero approached him and was like, congratulations, champ. How'd you like to be in the best of Super Juniors? I think I can put in a call and make that happen. And he was like,
That's
yeah, I'll
cool.
think about it. So, but it seems like that's what's going to happen. So that's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
cool.
cool.
Just
Uh,
another example of like, it's cool, like all these companies working together, know who can pop up where. So,
yeah, it makes all of them more interesting. All those
yeah.
shows. But this match, I would say, was top match of the night. Maybe the main event, but This was awesome. And this was 10 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree. If you like high flying action, the X Division pretty much always delivers for that. And yeah, I agree. I think probably the main event for me was probably the match of the night, but this one was right there with it.
yeah. Those two, definitely for sure. The next match, the big boy match, we had Tomohiro Ishii versus Jonah. These are just two big men just beating the shit out of each other. This match went 14-35, and I was surprised. I was surprised, but Ishii went over clean.
Oh, that didn't surprise me.
Oh, it did?
Like the New Japan guys always go over.
Oh. See, I
Well,
just thought that Jonah was an Impact guy, so they were pushing him. That's how I
yeah,
thought.
I thought maybe Jonah was going to win also because I thought maybe he was going to be the next opponent for the champion coming out of this, but more on that later.
Okay.
For this match though, good hoss fight. I love me a hoss fight as well. Jonah again for maybe people that only watch WWE/NXT. He was another guy that got released recently. He was known as Bronson Reed. He's a guy they seemed like they were pushing a little bit, and then just one day we're like, "Oh, you're fired." So
Right, it was like right after he was
yeah, North
North
American
American.
champ.
He like lost and then got fired the day after.
Yep. And then the guy he lost it to is fired too. So
Who did he lose it to?
Swerve.
Oh yeah, that's so funny. That didn't
So
last long.
but yeah, no, good hoss fight.
Yeah, good horse fight. 14-35. Good match. Fun. All right, so the next
This is
match.
where the alcohol really started kicking in too.
Oh yeah, yep. This next match, there was a lot uh, going on here. Almost so much that the alcohol really hit in. This match was 32 minutes and 50 seconds. Um, so how do I don't have the order that
So
they.
this was basically what I'm not sure what Impact called it exactly.
It
For
says
again, for
8-team elimination challenge match.
okay, it's basically again for WWE fans what they would call a tag team turmoil match. Two teams start like a regular match. One team loses, another team comes out until all the teams come out. 8 teams. So that's why this match went on a while. It was like it was at 30 whatever minutes, but it didn't really feel like that long because it's kind of stays fresh because there's always a new team coming out joining the fray.
Hmm.
And so this match was fun. It was a lot. It was pretty hectic. We saw some crazy stuff.
I'm trying to
Saw
think of
Chelsea
the.
get powerbombed through a table.
She did, yep. I think the order was Major
major,
Bros,
major players were out for, and it
Morrissey.
was Jordan Gray, which was one of the unannounced teams. The only thing about this match, slightly, so they had like 3 teams to be in. So I was like, prizes, but we didn't really get any surprises.
Yeah.
Technically, like Morrissey and Jordan.
Oh, you're cutting out.
Reason again?
Yeah, you're freezing again. So let me just think of the order. It was Major Brothers and Morrissey,
Major players,
and then it
Morrissey and
was
Jordan Grace. And then it was
the Good Brothers,
one
right?
of the other unannounced teams was Johnny Swinger and Zicky Dice.
Yep. And then the Good Brothers.
As much as I love the Swing Man, I was like kind of disappointed with that entry.
Yeah. And then it was Willie Mack and Rich Swan. Then it was Heath Slater and Rhino. And then it was Violent by Design.
You missed Bennett and Taven were in
Oh,
there too.
yes. Yep. So the alcohol definitely kicked in. I remember this was the first time we started standing on our seats.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
I was
They,
screaming gore at the top of my lungs when
yep,
Rhino came out.
we definitely did that. The Taven group, they came out. I remember conversations for that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably inappropriate for this podcast.
maybe not. But so let's just go to the finale. It Violent by Design came out last. Heath and Rhino were in. Violent by Design won by eliminating Heath and Rhino, and Violent by Design were the tag team champions going in, and they were the tag team champions going out.
Indeed. And I was hoping that maybe we'd get a Briscoe brothers appearance at the end to confront them, but we had to wait another day for that.
We did. We did. All right. So the next match is Tessa or Tasha Steele versus Rosemary. Okay, so Tasha was the champion going in. Singles match for the Impact Knockouts World Champion, so it's like the women's champion. Tasha Steele reminds me of a low grade Sasha Banks. And then Rosemary, for some reason, I all I remember is I guess Rosemary was doing her like psycho zombie stuff when the Hardy Boys were doing the total deletion stuff. So I caught a couple of it, and I'm like, wow, this woman still has the same gimmick like 6, 7 years later.
Yes, she's the demon assassin.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I like Rosemary a lot as a character. But she's had some problems with her knees. She's spent a lot of time on the sidelines and like just doing character stuff. And I think it kind of showed in this match. Like she's slowing down a bit.
yeah, you could see she was slowing down definitely.
Yeah.
So this match went 12 minutes, which with Tasha Steele going over and retaining her belt. Now for the main event, Josh Alexander versus Moose for the Impact World Championship. This match went 23 minutes and 55 seconds, and I just remember a lot of suplexes, and Brent was wrong on his count. He
What do
was
you mean?
screaming. He was screaming 10, and the crowd was on 9, and I followed him, and then he did another one after, and then the crowd said 10. That was funny. Um,
Whatever. It was 10. I ended up being right.
we were screaming "Walking Weapon" quite a lot. Um, and this was again. I didn't know like
No, no, no.
they do
Here's what it
that.
was. Here's what it
Okay.
was. My count wasn't off. I was chanting for him to do 10. I was like, yes, do 10 suplexes.
Okay. Got it. So I don't know much obviously about the story. I watched a little promo video before the match, but not knowing like the history of these two, I went in going, I don't know who's gonna win. And I bit a couple of times on some near falls. Like I thought like somebody was gonna win at certain points. Like so from a wrestling fan who doesn't watch Impact, they got me a couple of times. But I believe by the end of it the right guy won, which was Josh Alexander. They did a whole big hooray afterwards. His wife came out, his kid came out in his same wrestling attire, going on the apron and like on the
Yeah, that was funny.
yeah, that was cool. Um, but yeah, like I thought this match was fun. I was engaged the entire time. There was to me there was no real dead spots in the match. Match quality, the fans were into it, and again for 23 minutes 55 seconds, I wasn't bored.
Well, so it's cool that you say that as somebody that didn't follow the storyline because I think this match was very well built, and that usually factors into how much the crowd will react to a match, no matter how good it is. Like the build-up's very important too. And Josh Alexander's a guy that's been building up for a very long time. He came into the company as part of a tag team with Ethan Page called the North. They were very dominant. They held the titles for a very long time. Once Ethan Page left to go to AEW, they started pushing Josh to the singles. He had the X Division title for a while. He had a lot of great matches with the X Division title. Then Impact has this thing called Option C, where the current X Division champion can forfeit the X Division title for a shot at the world title. So he used Option C to face Christian Cage for the title at Bound for Glory, which is like their biggest pay-per-view of the year. He won the title, but he only held it for about 5 minutes because then Moose came in, speared him in front of his wife and son, and cashed in his call your shot trophy, which is like their equivalent of like Money in the Bank. You can like get a title shot whenever you feel like it, and stole the title from him. So Moose is like the bad guy, the evil guy. He stole the belt from the hardworking babyface. He had to work his way back up, got this match at Rebellion, and got his belt back. So in addition to the match being good, it was a good storyline, good build up, good culmination to the story. So I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, it was fun. So that was the pay per view. I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it from top to bottom. We had good seats. It was fun. The aftermath, we went out and we ended up running into some wrestlers. They were doing autograph signing, and then Brent decided he wanted to wave at cars as they came down the ramp to meet wrestlers.
Yeah,
and then your and then your lift was an hour late.
I saw Lance Storm. Uh, just I didn't really talk to him. I just yelled out, "Lance, you're the man." He was signing autographs for people. I didn't have anything for him to sign. But, and then I actually the next day, Sarah and I went to Target to just grab a couple of things, and I walked right by Josh Alexander, the brand new Impact Wrestling World Champion. He walked right by me in Target.
You should have said congratulations, my dude.
I thought about it. I was gonna say like, "Hey, champ, great match" or something like that, but he was with his wife and son, so I was like, "I'm not gonna bother him." Although he wasn't really trying to be inconspicuous. He had his Impact Wrestling track jacket hat. Like he was like I decked out in Impact gear. So like
He was waiting for it. He wanted someone to recognize him.
I kind of gave him a nod, and but like I was like I'm not gonna bother him because like I said, he's trying to shop. How would I feel if somebody came up to me, started bothering me while I was shopping?
True. Do you want to hear something totally off topic, but when you went like this, it like made me think of something. I read something the other day that most people, if they nod down for people, no, yeah, they nod down for people they don't know, and they nod up for people that they know.
There might be something to do to that. I did give him the down nod.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's normally like this, like, yep, I got you, and then it's like, hey, what's up? Like for someone you know.
Yeah,
I've been noticing. Yeah, I've been noticing like when I do it, I'm like, did I go up or down? And I like, I'm always going down for people I don't know. Like, you're welcome. Like, it's weird. Off topic, but yeah. Overall, fun time. I enjoyed it. I would go to another Impact show, especially at the Civic Center. Super close. But you're gonna have to tell me what happened on day 2.
All right, we're gonna get to that. I was gonna say real quick. Regardless of the promotion, I've seen a bunch of different promotions at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center throughout my life. I mean, I saw WWE there when I was a kid, ECW as a teenager, NXT house shows are coming through there, independent shows. We went to that NEW show there, now Impact. And I actually went to a TNA house show back in the day there. And, like, it's just always fun to see wrestling there. Like, you were talking earlier about Impact being like a smaller company. They don't have the big crowds like WWE, AEW does, and I can understand for someone that maybe watching wrestling on TV might look at Impact and be like, "Oh, this is like a rinky-dink thing." But when you go into a show live, I actually prefer those like smaller, more intimate arenas. I always feel like they're more fun, like the Civic Center, the ECW arena, the Hammerstein Ballroom, which we've been to a couple of times for Ring of Honor. Like those are like my favorite venues to watch wrestling in. They just feels so much more fun than even like I've never been to a WrestleMania, like one of the big stadium shows. I know you have, so you could compare it better than me. But I don't know. I just feel like I'd actually rather be at like the Civic Center than
I agree.
Dallas Stadium or whatever.
I agree, especially when there's so many people and you're so far away and you're not like right in the action, so you can get like you could be at a WrestleMania and the ring looks like this big.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even if you get closer, it looks this big, and then you'll get distracted because you're like not in the action. But the fact that we were like 20 rows, 15 rows back, like we were in the action the entire time.
That was the thing. We were in the last
face.
row, but I didn't feel like we had bad seats. You could still see the ring right there.
Exactly.
You could see the action clear as day. Like it was just fun.
And it was in your face, so you didn't really have the option to be like, "Oh, I'm distracted. Oh, I'm gonna go get another beer or something." It was just like.
Although, okay, I will say though, night 2, because they did a set of TV tapings the following night. Rob didn't attend. Me and Sean went. We had better seats this time. We were in front row, right up against the guardrail. So, for anyone that does watch Impact Wrestling that listens to this podcast, we're going to give a little bit of spoilers here. Although not as many as if we would have recorded this earlier, because one of the episodes did already air on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
But so they recorded 2 episodes, building up to their next not pay-per-view. So this Rebellion was an actual pay-per-view, but they also do these like Impact Plus specials. They have their own app where they do these special events from time to time. So they're building up to this one called Under Siege, which actually looks like a pretty good card. I think I might want to check it out. I might have to do a free trial on the app or
Try.
something. So we got earlier. I said I was hoping that the Briscoe brothers would come out and confront VBD because they were advertised for the TV tapings, not for the pay per view. I thought maybe they'd still come out as a surprise. That didn't happen, but they didn't make us wait. So the first thing that happened was Violent by Design came out. They cut a promo, bragging, we beat all these other teams, yada, yada, yada. Heath and Rhino came out to challenge them. And then Reach for the Sky, boy. And the Briscoe hit. Me and Sean popped. Briscoes came out. They got a really good reaction from the crowd. They also challenged Violent by Design. We're the Briscoes. We won titles everywhere we go on. This place ain't going to be any different. So, but Heath and Rhino didn't take kindly to that. So Violent by Design said, "Okay, why don't you guys fight it out? We'll face the winners." So they had a match. Briscoes won. So that's going to be the match for Under Siege. We're going to get
that does sound like a good match, though.
Yeah, that alone is one of the matches that makes me want to watch. We got a Taya Valkyrie came out for a promo. It was pretty funny. She was okay. I got to give a little bit of backstory on this promo because her storyline. She had a storyline in Impact earlier, right before she left to go to WWE, where she it's gonna sound weird just describing it. Basically, she went to jail for attempted murder, and she
Johnny, right? Johnny something.
Yeah, Johnny Bravo, and this but the joke was that at the end when they were taking her out, she's going to jail. Tommy Dreamer was there with some other wrestlers, and they were like, "Where do you think she's gonna go?" He's like, he kind of made a joke about the jail either being in Stanford or Jacksonville.
That's funny.
So she went to Stanford, and she wasn't there long. She only had a 4-month sentence, as we said before. So she came back and she kind of did this promo that was emotional at first about how she lost her creativity and she was being held captive and blah blah blah. And you think she's talking about WB, and she was like, "Don't you remember, guys? I went to jail." And then the crowd kind of popped at that. So, but then Deanna came out, attacked her from behind, put her in the armbar, and then Rosemary and Havoc came out to make the save. They have a lot of history. Rosemary and Taya, they were partners and stuff. So that was a callback to that. And then Deanna obviously is upset that she lost her title. So they're going to have a rematch at Under Siege also for the AAA championship.
Okay, so 2 for 2 on those solid matches.
Mm-hmm. And then let's see, trying to remember everything now because some of the stuff was out of order from what it aired on TV also. That's another thing that happens with these tapings sometimes. We got a very entertaining 6-man tag. It was Honor No More, Eddie Edwards, Mike Bennett, and Matt Taven against Speedball, Mike Bailey, and the Motor City Machine Guns. And this Honor No More went over, and then there was some tension teased between Shelley and Speedball, which Sean and I didn't really understand what was going on at the time at the tapings. We were like, "Oh, what are they doing? Shelley turning heel? What's going on?" He didn't turn heel. He didn't turn, but they were arguing and stuff. And then when I watched the episode, I was like, they kind of, I always still want to watch the episode because commentary and stuff and will fill in the gaps and stuff. And they were saying that Shelley and Speedball had a match earlier and Speedball went over. And so they were kind of saying Shelley might have beef because of that. So that's something to keep an eye on. I don't know if Motor City Machine Guns maybe going to break up. I know Shelley has been working heel on the indies. And that sometimes can be foreshadowing because Matt Cardona was the biggest heel on the indies, but he was still doing babyface on Impact for a while. But then they switched that up. Now he's a heel again. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Trying to think. Aren't they pretty old, Motor City Machine Guns?
Yeah, they've been around for a while. They were in TNA back in the day, and then they were.
Where's James Storm now? Come on, man! I wanted to watch James Storm.
he was doing some stuff again with Impact a while ago, but I don't think he was signed. I think he was just working some dates as a free agent, and he hasn't been there lately. So I'm not sure. I think he was doing some NWA stuff for a while too, but I'm not sure what he's doing right now. But dude, I was the biggest Beer Money fan. I was like, I wish Bobby Roode would go back to the Impact and get Beer Money back together. But most Machine Guns were there for a while. They were in Ring of Honor for a while. They've been together a long time. They weren't tagging consistently that whole time, but they've been a tag team for a long time.
Okay.
All right, let's see. What do we have next? I should have took notes, man.
Did Josh Alexander speak?
Actually, thank you, because I did say I was gonna go back to that when we were talking about Ishii. So they booked a rematch for between Moose and Josh.
Okay.
And D'Amore said that he already had the next challenger waiting for the winner. So they had a good match. It wasn't as good as the pay-per-view match, but you never expect the TV match to be as good as the pay-per-view match.
Oh, Moose versus Alexander.
Yeah, they had a rematch. That was the main event of this
okay.
last week's episode. So Josh retained, and his next challenger came out, and it was Tomohiro Ishii. So they got face to face. They did the headbutt thing, like smashing their faces together, and Ishii was pointing at the title and stuff. So that's actually gonna be the main event for Under Siege, Ishii
Cool.
and Josh Alexander. So I'm very looking forward to that.
Trying to think of.
Oh, and I know the other big match they had was because this match. So the Ishii and Jonah match, as cool as that was, it was kind of weird because Jonah had actually been beefing with PCO. They had already had a feud going. And they kind of like detoured from that to have him have this match with Ishii. Probably just a timing thing because they're like, hey, Ishii's in America. We can get him. Let's get him and put him in this match. But they finished this feud. They had a Monsters Ball match, which is Impact. It's called the Monsters Ball match because that was like Abyss. That was like his specialty match. And, Abyss isn't with the company anymore, but they still use that moniker. But it's basically just it's a hardcore match. Anything.
So they did that on the show?
Yeah, that was the main event for the whole set of tapings. That'll be the I won't say who goes over, but that'll be the main event for next week's episode. But they had a good match, everything you expect from a hardcore match, all the plunder, weapons and thumbtacks and everything.
Jesus. And PCO's like 60.
Yeah, man, he's crazy, dude. I was joking. I mean, he reminds me of Terry Funk because that was Terry Funk's thing, middle-aged and crazy. This guy's middle-aged and crazy. He's like 50-something years old. He's doing moonsaults. He does that thing he does where he comes off the top rope and just slams his back on the ring apron. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Yeah, I couldn't. I'm 20 years younger than him. I'd die if I did that.
Yeah, I would die. Yep. 100%.
Yeah, so we had that. We had I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think who else was on the pay-per-view, and I'm trying to what they did on tapings.
You said tag team. X Division.
So Tasha. Oh yes. Ace Austin had a match with Rocky Romero, and then after that, Trey came out and they kind of got into it. And Trey, again, he wants his rematch, so that's another rematch that we're gonna get at Under Siege. And then I was gonna say Tasha Steelz. What did they do with her? They had a tag team match. Her and her heavy Savannah Evans went against Decay, which is Rosemary and Havoc.
Oh, okay.
But that didn't really lead to anything storyline wise, not yet. So I don't know what's if she's gonna be defending the title at the next show or what.
I'm trying to think of like Morrissey, Major Brothers, Good Brothers.
Morrissey had a tables match with Brian Myers.
Okay.
And it was kind of a continuation of what happened at the pay-per-view. Like, obviously, Cardona got involved, Chelsea got involved, Jordan came out to help Morrissey, and you could probably tell where that went. But and now looks like Morrissey might be popping up on
Dynamite
this week, based off what MJF said. So
we'll see. That I'm pretty sure Morrissey's bigger than Wardlow.
Yeah, man, he's 7 feet tall.
Exactly. And that's what he said. You can't teach that unless it's Enzo and it's a swerve.
Yeah, but that wouldn't make no sense because he did say this guy's taller than you. Enzo ain't taller than Wardlow. That's
true. True.
I was kind of thinking that though. I was like, maybe it's not Morrissey because like that's so obvious based off what he said. Like maybe he is gonna swerve, but like I don't know. I feel like it's.
And Deanna's gonna be on Dynamite too.
Yes, because like we said, she is the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. She does still have that title, but they have an interim Women's Champion, Mercedes Martinez. So they're going to unify the titles, which I'm going to guess Mercedes is going to go over because they probably want to get the belt off Deanna, but we don't know exactly what her contract status is. Like, who knows? Maybe she's going to sign with AEW or be with Ring of Honor. I don't
Or
know.
do one of those things that she could just go wherever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting. I'm trying to think. X Division, you said. Good Brothers not on the show.
Oh yes, they did. They weren't in a match on the tapings, but they got into a scuffle with Honor No More after they had that 6-man tag. They actually did announce also a 10-man tag for the special. So, but the thing I kept saying was like they're outnumbered. The Bullet Club keeps getting the better of them, but they're actually outnumbered. They have one less guy, and I guess they're bringing in LP from New Japan. He's a member of Bullet Club. He's done some Impact stuff before too. So he's going to be the 5th member. So it's going to be a 10-man tag with Bullet Club versus Honor No More. That'll
Nice.
be cool too.
Nice. Yeah. We could talk about the Forbidden Door and then call it if you want.
Yeah,
All right.
we already talked a little bit about Forbidden Door. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
like you said, Briscoes. I don't know exactly what their contract status is. I don't think they've signed a contract with Impact, but we just saw them. They've been in Ring of Honor forever. They've been doing indie stuff. Now they're in Impact. We know it sounds like they're maybe not allowed to go to AEW based off some things from the past, which we won't really get into. But
Well, I was
it's
more talking Forbidden Door pay-per-view.
well, yes, I know, and yeah, we can talk about that. But I just meant Forbidden Door in general. Just
Oh, yeah,
seeing
yeah.
everybody. We like you said, Morrissey now looking like he's going to pop up. It's just fun to know that anybody could pop up at any time.
Yeah, it's like they have their home base that you could see them consistently there, but it's nice to see people bounce.
Yeah, and like you said, we got this upcoming pay per view now where it's going to be where it hasn't been officially announced, but we're guessing it's going to be AEW guys versus New Japan guys.
That's how they made it
I'm
seem.
hoping that's what it's going to be.
I
If it's
mean, they
not like
haven't announced any matches yet. So if
yeah,
you want to like a fantasy book,
speculate. Well, yeah, I was actually talking to Sean about this. So there's already a couple matches I want. The one I want John Moxley versus Tanahashi because that's one I feel like they've been teasing for a long time.
yep,
Um,
I agree. And Tanahashi just took the belt, so
yeah, he has the U.S. title.
and that's John Moxley had that recently.
Yeah, so
So
that could be one. I think I want to see Daniel Bryan. I'm sorry, I still call him by his WWE name, Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. I
oh,
think is another match that a lot of people are craving because those are like the two most technical guys out
I
there.
could see Kenta versus Punk.
Yeah, that's another one. I would like to see that one too because Punk stole his move and Kenta needs his revenge.
Yep, yep. I wouldn't mind Omega Okada 5.
So I'd be fine with it, but like I think just because they have wrestled each other 4 times already, I'd maybe rather see Okada face someone that he hasn't faced before. Him versus Bryan would also be another interesting one. If I think I'd still rather see the Zack Sabre more, but I wouldn't mind Bryan versus Okada. We're not even sure if Omega's going to be ready for that. It
True.
sounds like he's still on the shelf for a while. So I know it's in June, but
Who's the
it's
trios
still.
champ in New Japan?
I don't even know, dude. Those belts change hands so often.
I was gonna say
Um,
maybe Red Dragon and Adam Cole, or the undisputed elite
I can look
versus
it up real quick.
whoever the trios champion for New Japan is. I'm trying to think of who else. Like
Who's the guy for like we're talking about Ishii? Like, who's the guy who would be good to face from AEW? Like a Hoss.
Keith Lee.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be a. I'm trying to think of some like high flyers too.
Oh,
Uh,
I know another one that I wouldn't mind seeing. I think Will Ospreay, he actually called it out. He wants to face Pac. But where actually no,
oh,
Pac did just
he
return. I was
just
about to say,
showed up.
where is
Yeah,
Pac? But yeah, he
yeah,
did just come back. I feel like he's always has travel issues or something. So he's
yeah.
not
I
like there.
dude, even like a Malachi Black versus someone in New Japan, I feel like would be pretty intense.
Maybe Malachi versus Suzuki.
Oh, okay. And then it'd be cool to see the Bucks versus like maybe the New Japan
POD.
champs, yeah, or something like that, or like Bullet Club, you know.
I think
Oh,
who's the
DOD
tag
is still Bullet Club, right?
they're not in Bullet Club anymore. Jay White kicked them out,
Oh, okay.
and like
Jay White,
The Good
dude,
Brothers
Jay
kind of took
White
their
versus
place.
Malachi Black.
Yeah, that would be good. Um,
Or Ishii versus Miro.
Yeah, if again Miro's been missing in action. I don't know
Yeah, I think he's
what's
hurt.
going on with him, but so the current six-man tags for New Japan are the House of Torture, which is
Oh,
Evil, Show, and Yujiro Takahashi. That's like Bullet Club B team, basically.
oh, okay. But yeah, that could be a lot of combinations. It'd be cool if they did like Stardom too, and with some of the women wrestlers.
Yeah, I actually just saw recently that Kyrie Sane, or I guess she's just Kyrie now. She returned to Stardom.
And she's free now
Um,
of WWE.
yeah,
Because it was like when she got released or whatever. It was kind of like
she
she
was
said,
still under
"Hey,
contract. She was like some kind of like ambassador or whatever. She
yeah."
even
She was
after
like,
she
"Hey,
stopped
I don't want to
wrestling.
be here anymore. I want to go home." And they're like, "Okay, we're not going to release you. You're still under contract for X, Y, and Z."
Oh, we just speaking of releases, Kushida, he didn't get released. His contract expired, but he could be popping up any day back with the rumors are he's going to go back to New Japan, so he could be part of that show too.
Well, he's not part of Super Juniors. I looked at the roster, and he's not part of that. So maybe it's too fast.
Yeah, well, I know like part of the reason he wanted to leave New Japan in the first place was because he wanted to like move up to the heavyweight division, and they didn't want to let him for whatever
Mm.
reason. So we'll see. Maybe they'll change their minds on that. Let him. Maybe he doesn't want to do Super Juniors, because he's done it that a bunch of times already. So
Uh,
they already released all the names for the Super Junior.
I believe so. The only two that are not like any and New Japan guys is the
Case,
X Division guy
Case Austin,
and Wheeler Yuta.
Wheeler, Utah.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of releases, though, NXT another round of releases. Malcolm
Mm-hmm.
Bivens, Harlan, uh, Dexter Loomis. Yeah, Dexter Loomis, right?
Yeah, Dakota Kai.
Dakota Kai.
Although it sounds like from reports that in the case of Malcolm Bivens and Dakota, they didn't want to resign.
Yeah,
But it's also like I've been hearing a lot of stuff flying around that like Dakota, she's been in XT for a long time. She's had a few like things where she did dark matches, and it sounds like Vince had no interest in her. So that was probably a thing. I don't want to re-sign because you guys obviously don't want to do anything with me. So why would I? Like so,
yeah, yeah,
kind of a mutual decision, but more like they're not going to use me. So what's the point?
yeah.
Like
I did read though that Harlan, because he was like being talked up like the next Brock Lesnar. They released him because I guess he wasn't
they
progressing
just
as
didn't think he
well.
was progressing. Which like on one hand I can see like he's only had a couple matches and they weren't very good. He was just doing typical big man stuff, choking people and stuff. I didn't really see much from him, but at the same time, it's like it seems like their new edict is like we're giving you 6 months, and if you're not good, then you're out. It's like how
Yeah.
good is somebody supposed to get in 6 months? Like you gotta,
Like look at 90% of the NXT 2.0 roster. It's been more than 6 months for both. All most of them, I can't stand any of them.
yeah. And I don't think they're still not doing house shows. I don't think, which is
Mm-mm.
like that's where you learn doing house show matches. So like, how do you can't? There's only
But
so
think
much you can
about
do
it.
with
You're
just
not
training.
who's gonna go to that?
Yeah, I
Like
don't
at
know.
least when we went to NXT house shows, it was like Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Gargano, Adam Cole, like
Well, that's the problem with
Samoa
it.
Joe.
That's the
Asuka was still
problem.
in NXT.
That's the problem with them trying to have it be a developmental brand, but also like a TV show on national TV. It really can't be both
Mm-mm.
because like you can't have like green guys trying to learn and then also have them try to be draws for ratings and stuff. Like
That's why I think when this contract, whatever contract they have with NBC or whatever, NBC Universal or whatever, I think they're gonna drop NXT
yeah, maybe.
and
It
then
probably
put
just
it back to
depends on
Peacock.
it probably just depends on if like even as bad as the NXT ratings are, if they're better than like reruns of Law and Order or whatever else they would be showing, they might still want to keep it on. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think. I was hearing that the numbers were like 400,000.
Yeah, I think
They at one point they were competing with AEW at like a million, 700, 800, 900, and now they're like a steady 400. And the whatever the demo is not good either. So,
yeah.
we'll see.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help too when you just keep dropping people like flies. Like, there's no reason to get invested. Like, it used to be where like WWE would do like a round of cuts, but it was like you would look at the list and you're like, oh yeah, okay, oh yeah, I didn't think that guy even worked there anymore. Anyway, he's been sitting catering for 6 months. Now it's like the guy's right in the middle of a storyline. He's like about to do something and then like, oh, he's fired.
Yep.
It's like what?
But even the guys,
Dexter Loomis and the other girl they released, Persia Parada. They were just right in the middle of a story. They were just on the thing last week, and now they're gone.
wow.
It's like, okay.
And then the people they do bring up is like Tommaso Ciampa is now Ciampa.
Yeah, I don't know what their obsession is with people who only have
Um,
one name.
Pete Dunne is now Pete Dunne, who was a
Butch.
badass in NXT. Butch. Okay.
Yeah, they're already
Um,
making him a joke too. We're like, oh, he's like he ran off and they don't know where he is, and they're hanging up "Where's Butch" signs.
like
What?
he was such a badass in NXT. Like I still remember like the UK, the first UK tournament. I was like, and he like was punching his opponents like in the middle, like not even in the match. It was like when they were introducing the wrestlers, he was just like running at people and like
Yeah, I
t-
mean, he was booked to be the star right from the get go.
yeah. And then the fact that what Mustache Mountain and he was part of it, and then he got left in NXT, and then the other two are still in NXT UK. I'm like, man, you guys are lucky. I mean, you have less eyes on you than with NXT UK, but you're getting paid, and you'll have to do this shit.
Yeah, but that's the thing. NXT UK, yeah, it's probably the least watched show, but it's probably the most consistent. I watch it every week, and I like that show a lot. Like it's
Is there
very
still no
consistent.
fans?
They have a small crowd. They're still doing it in the studio, but there's some fans at least.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because for a while it was like no, like even that
Yeah,
Dragunov Walter match. Okay, Walter
you mean Gunther?
Imperium. They got rid of Marcel Bartel. No, the other one.
Well, Eichner, yeah, I haven't heard anything about him being released. I was surprised he wasn't released because it seems like they just dropped him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
And
he
like,
wasn't released, but he was basically removed from Imperium as like I called up to
yeah,
SmackDown.
and again, no explanation. They were in a tag match and he just walked off, and they were like, "Why is he leaving?" Well, I don't know. And then
Yeah.
I've never saw him again. He like went back to Italy, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And
I thought they
that,
were gonna put him with Tony D'Angelo. I was like, oh, he's Italian.
but that
But
team was so good, Imperium. Like it was a three-way. I think that Imperium versus whatever the Bloodline. That would have been sick.
I agree, and that's the thing. They're so short on tag teams as it is. Why wouldn't you want to have another tag team? You can put them there with Walter, and I guess they're looking at it like I don't even know if. Well, first of all, Marcel Barthel is now Ludwig Kaiser. Let's
Oh,
get it right.
sorry,
So I
Ludwig.
don't, but I feel like he's like a mouthpiece now. I don't even know if he's going to wrestle. I mean, he comes out in his tights, but he doesn't wrestle. He just talks.
But
He's like
again,
his
he's
manager.
so talented.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
then what you have LA Knight who's now managing
Yeah, and all
Mace.
these guys like they always talk about the thing with Vince too is like he likes the look, and these guys have great physiques too. They're
Hmm.
not just like some slubs. Like they're all jacked and they can wrestle and they um
Good. They are
Kaiser
really
can
good.
talk. Kaiser can talk pretty good too. I mean, he's got an accent, which Vince probably hates that, but you know, I don't know. I don't really know what they're doing.
But again, even LA Knight, like I said, is now a manager.
Yeah, which I can even almost understand that because like talking is his best attribute. But I mean, he can still go in the ring. He's got a good look. He seems like a guy Vince would like. He can talk his ass off. He's got a good physique. He's like a classic pro wrestler. He doesn't really do like super flashy moves. I mean, he's good, but like he doesn't like do anything crazy. I don't see why you'd be like, we'll just and like to manage Mace, like no disrespect to that guy, but like,
What have you done?
yeah, that's what I'm
He
saying.
was an announcer.
He hasn't really shown anything to get over. Now, part of it, that's not totally his fault because they stuck him with whack ass retribution. Nobody was getting that over. But like
Ali, or
still,
that's why Martinez was like, leave me out of this, please. Send me back to NXT. I'll get released and I'll go somewhere else. Which is exactly what happened.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like with WWE, so they just want to focus on whatever their main storyline is. Whatever's going on with Roman, whatever's going on with Cody, and whatever else.
Becky.
Whatever. Yeah. Well,
Becky
yeah,
and
with
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Yeah,
That's it.
it's like they can focus on one storyline at a time. one for the men, one for the women.
And even
Like you
that
said.
sometimes it's hard for them.
Yeah.
Who else? Somebody else got just called up too. I'm trying to think.
Well, we said Champa, right?
Yeah, Champa, Butch, Walter, or Gunther.
Oh, Raquel Rodriguez now, not Gonzalez, because you can't use your real name, any part of your real name ever.
Yeah,
That's the
Raquel
rule.
Gonzalez, one of the better NXT women champions, is now Raquel
Rodriguez. What's the
Rodriguez.
other generic Spanish name we can give her? Not Gonzalez,
Martinez.
Rodriguez.
Martinez, Rodriguez,
um, yeah,
Perez.
they're already laming her up with like being she's all smiley, like, hey guys, I'm here to wrestle. Like,
Yeah. And that's not how she was in NXT.
no,
She was like,
she's
I'm
like a
the
badass.
badass. I'm going to kill
Yeah.
you. I'm tough. I'm from Texas. Yeehaw, motherfucker. And now it's
Yep.
like, yeah. It's funny, even with all of these call ups, well, two things. It doesn't give me any more interest in watching Raw or SmackDown. And it immediately, all of their characters that they had in NXT are all gone. So it's like, why watch NXT anymore?
Yeah, I don't. Well, that's the thing. They're gonna. So they said the thing was Vince didn't like what NXT was doing because he didn't feel like they were getting guys ready for the main roster the way he wanted. That's why like he was trying to change stuff around. So it's like okay, so they kind of changed NXT more to his vision, but yet he's still changing people when they come up. This guy was Pete Dunne for 5 years. Now all of a sudden he's Butch. I understand from the business standpoint they want to own the name. Okay, I get it, but like
You're never going to
you
see the winner of the Universal Championship, that main event of WrestleMania 50, Butch. Like, you're not going to get
or
it.
Braun Breaker. I
Yeah.
mean, I think everybody agrees like the kid has a lot of talent. He could be a star, but not with the Braun Breaker is his name. That name's terrible.
And then off NXT, but now you notice that Finn Balor's like a jobber now? He just
Yeah, I was
loses every
reading
match.
something that said they think there's some kind of backstage politics going on with that. I don't know, but
I just don't think he cares anymore, to be honest.
yeah, I mean, he hasn't had a storyline. They haven't given him anything to chew on. Like he's like I was saying, he's not. If you're not in that main event scene, they just don't give any. You just go and have a match.
But the thing is,
Okay.
in my opinion, Finn Balor could talk. He's got the look, and he could wrestle.
Mhm.
Is it because he just has an accent? Is like that's it? Because like what?
He's
He was in
small.
NXT, great NXT champion, got called up, got injured, came back, got brought back to NXT, showed him he could do it again, won the NXT championship, went back to Raw or SmackDown, and it's just nothing again.
I think you might have hit the nail on the head when you said like he got injured as soon as they put the Universal title on. I think that kind of like killed him right there. I think Vince just looked at that and was like, he's tiny, he's injury prone. I'll use him a little bit here and there, but I'm never gonna push him like past a certain level because
And he hasn't been injured since.
yeah, I don't know, man.
I think if he left AEW real quick or back to Japan, I think he had a good time in Japan.
He could be part of Forbidden Door.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, think about it. A lot of these guys, like I feel like Finn Balor, he's like 40. He's not going to be like, oh, I'm not signing. He's just going to not show up. You're just not going to see him one day. So I don't think they're going to release him because they know that he'll become a big star in either AEW or New Japan because he's so established now. And they're probably like, we don't want to drop him because we know he's going to get snagged up, but let's just keep him here until his contract expires.
Yeah, they just won't use him, and then when his contract expires, but he'll just he like he, they'll take him off TV so he won't have any momentum when his contract is up, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
If he tells them I don't want to resign, like
yeah,
we're not. Sometimes as fans we act like we know what's going on backstage when we don't, but you can kind of guess, but you don't really know what's happening. So
yeah.
maybe some people guys might be happy even if their booking sucks. Like, well, I'm making a lot of money though, so whatever.
Very
It
true.
just depends.
And then we had three returns, technically two. We had Ezekiel. That is
Elias's
technically
younger
a
brother.
return. An Elias, Elias's brother, apparently. We had Ali and we had Asuka.
Yeah, the Ali thing was kind of weird. Like they just, it seemed like they were hell bent on just like same thing, putting him on ice, and then they just
Well, he requested he requested his release,
yeah,
and they
and
didn't give it to him.
he's been very vocal on Twitter about it too, like not wanting to be there anymore. But
Yeah.
for whatever reason, he's a guy I don't understand why they want to just let him go because I don't think they see anything in it. Like if you don't see anything in the person, why would you care if they go to the other company? You're saying you have them now and you don't think they're worth anything. So if they're not worth anything, let them go to the other
Or
company.
put him in NXT. Like
Yeah,
this, I mean, I guess Ali, you could say, I wouldn't say he's green, but
no,
like
definitely not.
put him in NXT. He doesn't have to be a star. Think about like Matt Sydal in AEW. Like he's not a star, but he's like an established wrestler that could put younger guys over.
Ali's a guy who'd be good for the X division and Impact.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So it's just I don't know. I just wrestling these days.
yeah, I feel like we're ending this on a depressing note.
Yeah, but that's all right. I'll be going to the NXT show in Long Island in a week.
I mean AEW.
AEW, yep,
You
sorry.
said NXT.
Oh, sorry, NXT in the brain. I'm going to that show, so hopefully that AEW's been good. I mean, I know we're kind of being all blah blah about Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, but it's not like I mean NXT is painful, uh, but it's not like Raw and SmackDown are super terrible all the time. It's just the politics that goes around it and like
I feel
not
like
using guys.
even with AEW, like AEW feels more like exciting week to week. But even with them, I can't think of like a great storyline essentially going on. Well, MJF and Wardlow's been pretty good. But
The
like
Page
I feel
Adam
like
Page storyline was
with who? With Cole?
no like for him to get the belt.
Oh yeah, leading up. But since he's been champion, it's kind of been like
Yeah,
I feel like it's a problem across all of wrestling. Like it's like they just don't tell stories like they used to. Like there's no storylines. It's just like it's nothing. It's not like I beat up your friend or something or I did something. It's just like we're just having matches. Like oh, this was a good match. It's like yeah, we all want to see good matches, but like I gotta have a reason to care about them.
the
Like
Wheeler Yuta storyline's pretty good.
yeah, I don't know. It's that thing was kind of weird to me though because it's like I'm kind of confused on whether the Blackpool Combat Club were supposed to be heels or faces. I know they get cheered because it's Brian Danielson and John Moxley, but like the thing was like, oh, we want this guy in our group, so we're gonna like beat the shit out of him and
Well, I
bust
think
him up.
that's
And
why they said like if you want to be with us, you have to bleed with us, kind of thing.
yeah, I guess, but that seems kind of heelish to me. Like that's like a gang. We got to beat the shit out of you before you can
Yeah, yeah,
join us.
true. I mean, the Britt Baker had a pretty good story before she lost. Like that she
With
was a
Thunder Rosa.
dominant she was a dominant champion looking for a challenger. So that was a something. Uh Jay
I don't really.
Cargill, 30-0. I mean, you could
So
see something forming.
so they've done a good job pushing Jade, but again, like what storyline has she actually been in yet? She hasn't really had a storyline. I mean, now she's got her crew, so maybe something come from that.
I'm trying to think of like
But
a
like,
storyline.
I don't feel like she's had one. She's just been beating people,
Yeah, you're right,
which
because
is
even
good to
like
build somebody up. But like,
how about the Young Bucks and Red Dragon? That's a slow burn, but I feel like
yeah,
that's going somewhere.
I feel like they're dragging that out a little because they're waiting for Kenny to get back.
Jungle Boy and Christian, I feel like that's gonna go
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, they're planting seeds for stuff for sure. But
Yeah,
like, I just feel like as of right now, there's not like a ton of good storylines going on. Just on
because
all of wrestling.
even Thunder Rosa, like she has no real
Yeah, they
story.
haven't done anything with her since she's won the belt. Really, she got attacked by what's her face.
I
Had
think
a
it's gonna
match
be
with
her
her.
versus Deeb at the pay per view.
Did Deeb win the match against Sheeta? She did, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good. I'd like to see that. I like Serena Deeb a
but
lot. I
even
think,
that Deeb versus Sheeta, like part 7.
yeah, that thing went on for a while.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to think of like what other storylines that I mean Punk for I mean yeah MJF and Wardlow definitely
I feel like MJF is the only guy who's consistently in a storyline.
a good
He had
storyline.
his thing with Jericho, then he had his thing with Punk. Now he's got his thing with Wardlow.
Well, you got the well, it was Cody.
Yeah, well, that was even before Jericho.
Yeah, before yeah yeah.
So like, but like even Punk since the thing with MJF ended, he's kind of hasn't really been doing anything. And then now he's starting the thing with Paige.
Yeah, I mean, Kingston and Jericho, there's something. It's more heat than
Yeah, I
story.
feel like that one is I feel like it's starting to drag out too already though. Like they're doing the same shit every week. They just attack each other
Yeah,
like every week. And I feel like the payoff is two more people coming in to even the odds, which I feel like it's got to be Homicide and Hernandez would make the most
blood and
sense.
guts, blood and
Yeah,
guts.
something like that. Even though I think that's usually a 4-on-4, right? Blood and guts, or
Well, they
no? I
were
guess it
gonna.
is. I guess it is 5-on-5 because they did it with the Inner Circle and
Yeah,
Pinnacle. Right?
true, true.
But yeah, that could
Um,
work. Jericho's guys against all of LAX. Well, they won't be called LAX, but that's basically what they are.
yeah. No, there's a. I mean, yeah, they're not. There are stories, but they're not like long-term stories.
Or they're not. They're just not even that. Like, even if it is a storyline, it's like, and I understand in the year 2020, it's very hard to
Quick,
do something like original in wrestling,
true.
but it's kind of all basic stuff. It's like, yeah,
Even
you
like the
fall.
Sammy Guevara storyline, it's like, all right, I'm over that already.
Yo, you see what he did off the ladder? That guy's a freaking idiot.
Did you see that they won the mixed gender
Yeah, the mixed tag and
tag?
Triple
Yeah,
A. Yeah, I
yeah,
saw that. Triple A's got way too many titles.
yeah. Way too many. Yeah, but we kind of touched over everything. It's 11:30 now, so we've been going for about an hour and a half. We could probably call it here if you want.
Yep, good little wrestling chat.
Yeah, good little wrestling chat. And there's a reason why Andy couldn't be on here, kayfabe. But next time he'll be on. He'll be
I'll
on.
be back.
He'll be back. All right. So for the Disaster Party podcast, I'm Rob Stanio. We have Bree Rent over here. Thank you again for covering for Andy and Sean because he wanted to do
Anytime.
this. And yeah, so before we go, I'll say remember to like, share, rate, review, comment, and subscribe to Disaster Party Podcast on all social media platforms, including YouTube. And for Disaster Party Podcast, we are out. Bye bye.